head down to the water and we'll show you what we're looking for on the Helix, what the beds look like, and kind of what we do to catch a few of these tasty critters. So stay tuned. I'll be back here. Male gill. That's what we're looking for. That didn't take too long right there. I'm gonna keep a few of these today. We're gonna have some bluegill for supper tonight. Throw him in there. Still got a little bit of cricket left. Throw another one on here. I just thread them in, either butt to head or head to butt. Doesn't really matter. Just thread them on there. So I try to keep them down in the corner. I don't try to get them way up on the hook. I just keep it down there in the corner. Figure that's what they're biting at, so might as well have them biting right on the hook. Get the cast out here and see if we can make it happen again. That happened pretty quick. With this drop shot, you're not really, you don't have an anchor or a bob or anything showing you what's going on. You just got an anchor to the bottom and that bait just a little bit above bottom. So it's all about the feel. You're feeling for the bite. You're not seeing an indication of a bite. You're feeling for the bite. And I love crickets. They're probably one of the best baits that you can use, but they definitely can get bit off or sucked off that hook pretty quick. And that's why we're going to use the leeches today too. The leeches you can cut in small pieces if you want, or thread the whole thing on there, but they just tend to last a little bit longer. Oop, dang it, missed it. There we go. Feels like a little fella. Boy, pretty fish. Look at that guy. Little guy, but boy is he pretty. He's got all the colors. And that's your spawning males. They're the ones that come up first. They get all the beds made just like, you know, bass or anything else. And then they wait for the females to come up and they kind of court them and bring them into their area. And pull it along slow and just wait, just feel for it. I mean, you pull that sinker along the bottom and you'll feel it slide along easy, and then all of a sudden it gets kind of rough. And that's when it's falling in those divots of the bed. Now I got bit again and they cleaned me out. I'm gonna switch over and let's grab a leech out of here. And I think what I'm gonna try doing first is I'm actually going to use the entire leech. It's better if you can get some smaller ones. Some places just have one size. I stopped at the bait store today. That's all they had is this one size. Some places have, I know like up north, they've got large, small, mediums, different sizes to them all. And a lot of times they'll have panfish leeches up there, which are a smaller leech. These here are about a 3-inch long leech. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to start in this back sucker back here, because that's the toughest part and that's what will hold it on longer. And I'm just going to kind of keep weaving it on the hook. See if I can get them started here anyways. There we go. And I'm just going to kind of just keep twirling it around and get them on the hook that way, just like that. And I'll see, what we'll try later is just cutting them off in chunks. You can just cut a chunk off and put on there too, but we're going to start with the whole leech, see what we can come up with. One thing I'll do with these rods too is I like to grab the rod with the cork, but keep one finger up on the graphite so I can feel the bite a little better. Because again, we're not watching a bobber here or anything. We're just feeling for the bite. There's one right there. That you come on. You're just feeling for that bite. You want as much sensitivity as you can. Another good way to do it is keep that line on your finger. You don't have to give these a lot of time like this. There we go. That's a better fish. You don't have to give these beds a lot of time. If those fish are there and they're active, they're going to bite. So I don't, if I start spending 10, 15 minutes on a spot and I'm not getting bit, I'm gonna move. There, we got a good one here. There's another nice gill. Look at that dude. That's a hand size. And full of pretty male bull bluegill there. That came off a little bit the other side of the bed there. I just had another bite. There, you got it. Looks like another decent fish right there. There we go. Yeah, not a bad fish. He's a little bit on the medium side. He's meant to go back. Fish, as they come up, they'll use the same beds. The males that were in first, they come in, make their beds, spawn, do their thing. They leave, another group will move in, and I've seen a bed start out maybe just the size of the deck on the boat, and by the end of the spawning season, it's the size of the boat. They just keep coming up and using the same beds over and over. There we go. Feels like a little better fish again. Yeah, there we go. That's what we're talking about. Nice fish. That was a nice fish there. Alright. We're getting somewhere now. And on that leech, finally my leech is gone, and we got what? 3, 4 fish out of that leech, a few misses where the crickets. The crickets were going through one about every other bite. Let's grab another cricket quick since he's out here. I think our weatherman was wrong on our wind today. We're only supposed to have about 3-mile-an-hour east winds. It feels more like about a 7 to 10 right now. Been on the wrong side of that bed, man. It's funny how that works. I mean, you can have a bed there, and those fish. Another decent fish. That one's right. Another one of those that are right on the verge. You know, he's really close to being a keeper. I think we'll throw him in there. From where I was throwing on this bush earlier, I'm over probably about 8-10 foot from where I had been throwing earlier, and seem to be getting a few better bites now. Oh, I missed that one. So that the part over there where we're catching those other, what I call the nest robbers, that may have been the early part of the bed, and this new one here is where these males have just moved up for this full moon, and are adding on to what was already here. Getting down on my crickets, they're getting a little harder to catch. Alright. Throw that out there. We're just gonna drag it back slow. Not hopping it, I'm not doing nothing with it, just throwing it out and dragging it back. Reel up my slack and start dragging it back again slow. And when they want it, I mean, it's moving enough that when they want it, they hit it pretty good. And there we go. They've generally got it. We've got some boat traffic out here pushing me around. Almost jumped out of the water. What we got here? Another nice male. He's a little smaller. We'll throw him back. Pretty fish though, man. They get all those colors on them. They're just a gorgeous, gorgeous fish. They fight so hard. Well, I'm going to grab out another leech. And I'm reaching down in here because I'm trying to keep the leeches out of the sun. If you got a cooler, you can keep them cool. They'll definitely last a whole lot longer. What I'm going to do with this one now is I'm going to get one out of here, and either a really sharp knife or scissors. And I'm just going to cut me a chunk off one rather than using the whole thing. All I did is just cut a small chunk off from it, just the tip there, and I'm just going to thread him on in here a couple times. And get him to stretch out again so I can get a hold of them. They're not the easiest things to grab and use, but the bluegill sure do love them. Alright. We'll catch a few more fish off here and we'll go look and see if we can find ourselves another one. Yeah, I'm just throwing it out. Dragging that bait back into that bed. Smooth so far. That's getting a little rougher. Definitely enough now. I can just feel that sinker just kind of dragging a lot harder through all that. Through all the little divots that are the beds down there. There's one right there. Feels like a good fish too. Man, they just all feel so good and pull so hard. Come on up here. There, now there's a female. That's a nice looking female. Like I was telling you before, the males get all the color. This is what the female is. She's all fat too, man. Look at that little belly. She's all got, look at all the eggs in her. She's ready down there to do her thing. But see how how gold and just kind of yellowish she is. Not a whole lot of color to her. She's still a pretty fish, but just doesn't have that dark blue and purples and iridescence that the males get. Just a real pretty fish though, a real healthy fish. That female got all those pretty colors there, just kind of yellowish. But that's a pretty female, nice and fat, full of eggs. Oh, look at that. Another one right away. Wiped my hands off. I felt him almost jerk the rod out of my hand. Now we're getting into the females. Here's another one. Well, we moved bays again. We've come back to, we've just kind of been idling around looking at different bays, and we come across here, and we're just going to idle along this bank and see what we can come up with. Just like we did at the other places. We're just check to see what we got. We're going to stay, as you can see, somewhat close to the shore, but close enough to, look at that right there. I'm going to look back. Looks like we're kind of out in front of that bushy tree there. No, yeah, it looks like some more right up there. Right out that way. Might have to make another little swing by there. Actually, it looks like a bunch of them. Starting there all the way up through that. Looks like maybe that whole corner might be full of them. Got a little turbulence in the water there. Let's turn around here. Go by this again and see what we come up with. Some of that wave action kind of got some turbulence in there, but we'll see what we got going on. Sure looked like a whole corner back there is full of beds. That'd be awesome. Kind of watching again, don't really see much. Everything's kind of flat in there. And yeah, sure enough, there they are. You can see them. There looks like a log there. You can see the pock marks right there. Look, they're coming all the way up. Looks like a bunch. These might even be new ones, and these are older ones or something. Look at that. Well, I'm going to get the boat swung around here and get that power pole down. We're going to give these guys a shot. Alright, we got set up on this new spot here. I'm going to start out, thread me on a leech, and see what we can make happen. Got the power pole down again, kind of positioned where the boat's actually facing out. We're going to be throwing up this way though to the bank. And I've kind of got the boat about, I don't know, 20, 30 feet off the back side of the end of the bed. It kind of started here and ran down to another, out in front of this tree down here that I kind of, when you see them on the bank or when you see them on the side imaging like that, I try to look at the bank if I'm close enough to it. And pick out a spot on the bank that kind of triggers where to be making my cast or where that bed is. Now, if I'm out here in the open water, I'll take a buoy and throw it out so I, got a reference as to where to cast or come back to. Throw this leech out here and same thing, just kind of drag it along nice and slow. This one here kind of looked different. It had some like deeper beds on one end, kind of looked like some shallower beds, and then some deeper beds again. And what I mean is that the dish stood out a little bit more, as if maybe the shallower ones were fish that came in earlier. They've already gone, and maybe some of the waves have kind of washed them in with boat traffic. And I think some of those deeper ones are fish that have just showed up again on this full moon. Generally, if they got a fairly deep dish and the bed looks pretty dark, a lot of times you can see that white speck in them. If there's a male in there that's making it or guarding it or whatever, you'll be able to see the fish actually in it. Here I wasn't able to, so I don't know if these, you never know if a bed's been picked through or not a lot of times. So we're gonna give it a little bit here and see what we come up with. Make a few casts around. Like I said, I honestly don't give a bed more than 10, 15 minutes, just for the simple fact that, if those fish are here and they're on it, they're going to eat them. That's the cool thing about bluegill fishing, is they're eaters. They always want to eat. You get something in front of them, they're going to eat it. So it doesn't take long to know, if you're on an active bed or not, or if they've been, picked through already, or. So I just I give it 10 minutes or so, make sure I kind of cover everywhere where I thought the bed was. And then I'll move on. Well, we moved again. We came over here along a railroad trestle, and we've been idle down this riprap. As you can see, we're not all that far off the riprap, and we'll be actually able to see it on here too. Kind of where that riprap comes out. Oh, look at that right there. There, I threw a buoy out because I'm not really sure on the bank where I'm going to be on those. There's a set of beds there. You can see where this riprap comes out. This is going to be hard bottom along here pretty much the whole time. So these are always, if you can find like a railroad trestle like this or another spot of riprap, those are always good areas that are going to have, generally going to have beds somewhere along them. Can't really tell. Almost looks like a few old beds in there. A lot of these beds looks like they might have been washed out if there's anybody along here. And that's what'll happen. These fish will be along here. They'll set up their beds. If other ones don't come in and continue the colony, and you get a lot of boat wakes, it'll wash a lot of this bedding away and just kind of fill them in. That's why when we've seen some of those other ones, you see that real dark dish and that real deeper dish. Those are generally fresh beds. Those fish are up and spawning, and those are the good ones to try to hit. If you idle by them, and man, you can't really pick them out. A good chance that they may have already been picked through and gone, or maybe they spawned and left, and just new ones never came up and used that area. So I tried to find try to key on the spots that have the deeper dishes in them. Just seems like those are the fresh fish. Looks like we got a little mink up there trying to chase us. I don't know if you guys can see him up there. He's gonna check us out there. Wondering what we're doing. He's looking out for a meal too. You never know what you're gonna see while you're out here fishing. Now I'm going to idle up to this log. You see this log in the water, we'll idle up. Usually sometimes where some of those will come out and hit the bottom here, they'll spawn around the base of them. If not, we'll go back to where we threw that buoy. And yeah, see, that's where that log was coming up and came down in there. And I don't really see anything, so we're going to turn around here. I'm going to go back to where we threw that buoy out and get us set up. Alright guys, we switched positions here again. We were a little bit farther back in the bay here. We've moved out here a little bit closer to the mouth again along this flat. I've got a spot marked here with a big old bed of gills. And we'll see what, I've seen some fish in them, so I know these are fairly recent ones. So I got another cricket on. Let's get out here and see what we can catch. Boy, you can just feel that sinker come through those beds so well. That is a cool thing about this drop shot. I mean, you throw it up there, and as you're dragging along, you get that real smooth feeling. Boy, I wish I could show you the rod tip. It's just bouncing as a sinker's just going through all those beds. And this is a pretty big bed. I mean, it goes from right up here over to here. There we go. Mean things. I tell you what, these things are so fun. Boy, is that a pretty fish. Look at this one. Wow, look at that. That's what we're looking for. Wow. What a nice gill. On the drop shot. Got the sinker. What a pretty fish. Get him off there. Look at that. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous fish. Nice male. Put him in the box. Get me another cricket out here. I like these tubes and the cans. Cans are a lot easier to get into, but if you're just using, if it's just yourself out there, I like having the tubes. If I've got, when I'm doing trips, I try to use the cans. They got the bigger opening on them, easier to get a hand in and out. But just individual, being out in a boat, doing my own thing, a lot of times I'll get enough to put in that shaker there. It's got a pretty neat little top on it here. He opens here to fill it up, and then you just pop this off and just get one to crawl or shake out of there, and you're good to go. It's a good thing too to keep your bait. One thing to remember with the crickets, they like to be cool too. So if you got them out in the sun or whatever, there's one already. Look at that. You've got them out in the sun. they will start to die during the day if they get overheated. So if you can keep them in a cooler or keep them under some shade. Boy, another nice fish. Look at this gill. Boy, pretty fish. Gosh, nice size to them. I mean, handful. That's what we're looking for, man. Something you can, I mean, when you gotta get a hold of it, it's a handful, that's perfect. That's what we're talking about. That's what lives out here. Get me another cricket here. Get ourselves back in business. Alright. Sweet. Right now, I'm just pitching up to where I had my buoy. And I idled through here, and I mean, it was a fairly long bed. I went past it, and I came by, and I threw it on the beginning, and I know it comes back this way a ways. But I'm going to start up here and just kind of work my way back on it. All right, there's the beds. I can feel them just chunk, chunk, chunk. Oh. Yeah, he got my cricket. I was wondering that. He got my cricket. This thing's so handy. Just grab one quick and go. Nice thing about that one is it's got the cover on it. You don't have to worry about kicking it over and a bunch of them spilling out. There we are. Ooh, look at that. Wow. I didn't even get the slack line out of that one. He hit it already. Wow. Goodness. Nice fish. Look at that gill. There's a stud. Whew. That's what we're looking for. Holy, look at the size of that bad boy. What a fish. That thing's awesome. Too much fun. Unreal. Well, guys, I tell you what, we've had a heck of a day out here catching beautiful bluegill like that, using the drop shot method, and we've just had an absolute blast. I hope I've been able to teach you a little something on this video, and you can come out, use that drop shot method. Showed you what to look for on the Helix, the Humminbird Helix 10, on the side imaging, what the beds look like. Get a chance, get out here, put that stuff to work for you, and you'll definitely catch more fish. But until next time, it's Captain Brian Brown, and look forward to seeing you on the water. Tight lines.